What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to a new episode of Critical and Thinking with Ty Barnett
And Ian Harris, back again.
Who am I?
Oh, who's this? No.
I gotta give him a proper intro. Let me tell you something. If you are any kind of geek at all, any type, you know this dude. You may not even recognize the face, but you know this dude's voice. I'm talking about everything from the Marvel universe, everything to Star Wars, video games, World of Warcraft,
The Walking Dead
the Walking Dead video
game
game right now, which is super hot. Please.
Dave Fennoy.
Oh,
Hey, golf clap.
Hey,
So-
What's up?
AKA Golden Voice.
Yes, so I want to bring Dave in today because, well, first off, we get real political on here, and and I like Dave's political.
Did you
perspective.
tell him that before you?
Oh no,
Well, you know, we
talk.
We know each other, so
Okay.
we have talked.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
okay, good.
Although some people don't.
I don't want him to take you by surprise.
Some people don't want to go there
Nah.
personally because of business or whatever. But
Well, you know
you,
what?
you don't seem to have a problem going.
I don't, and I don't necessarily recommend that other people say the things they want to say. I know because you can be judged, you might lose
Yep.
your business. Or what.
Right.
I've been around a long time. If I've lost something because I lean to the left, then I'm progressive. I'm probably going to win something because
Right.
somebody on the left that's progressive wants to hire somebody that feels like they do.
Right.
I think most of the time people who are going to hire a voice for their thing aren't really looking at that.
They don't care about that,
They
yeah.
may, but they may not. It hasn't stopped me from booking.
Right.
And if there's somebody that doesn't want to hire me because I believe in racial equality and equal pay for men and women.
Freaking libtard, bro. Freaking libtard.
Because I believe everybody should have an opportunity and workers should get
I
paid what
can't-
they
I
should.
can't believe
then
that.
They can go themselves.
Yes. Which, if you want to say that word, you can. If you don't, you don't have to.
Oh, please.
We don't give a fuck on this way.
You know what? With a voice this smooth, I want to hear him say curse words. Go ahead, go all in. you know?
But yeah, that's the thing. Is like I have people say, "Oh man, you might." I'm like, first off, this industry, most of the people are fairly progressive. Let's hope. But even so, it shouldn't matter. Especially in doing voice work, it's like they're hiring you for what you do.
Yeah.
And even on camera stuff,
I got to be honest with you, though.
Doesn't matter to me,
Part
man.
of some of these people's the problem why I don't think it'll be an issue with people that do voiceovers because a lot of these other-sided people, we won't say who, are lazy. So they're not going to do the research on this dude's voice. They're gonna be like, let me see who this dude is who's doing this video game and his political views. Because they don't want to do their research, so he's actually pretty safe. It's when you're on camera and it's like, I see the face, I can go to the name. Da, da, da. If they got to do anything deeper than, plus they love probably the video games that he's on. They're like, oh, this fucking asshole. But such a good game.
well,
Well, you know, I'm on Dota 2 and I play 6 different characters, and one of the characters, Bat Rider, is identifiably black. And I did have some, kind of racist kids play the game. Wow, Bat Rider's the N-word. Bat Rider's an N-word.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
But you know what? I didn't follow up on what was. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some other gamers, because this is one of those games that people are playing together or kind of community. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy got shotted down by some people.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do the game makers, do they monitor that type of stuff and see who's saying what and be like, oh, well, wait a minute, you can't be using this language?
You know, I don't think they do. I think they're much more interested in is the game doing well? That we get all
Money.
that we get all the stuff, and are we making that money we're supposed to be making?
Yeah.
Now-
Like, are we getting paid?
Now,
Right.
I haven't done a video game forever. I don't get a lot of opportunities to do video games here and there.
Stop whining.
But yeah, no. My question is, because I know a while back, and I think people our people listening aren't VO people. They might be interested to know how does that work? Because in film, in movies, in TV, and commercials, depending on obviously if it's buyout, cable, whatever, you get your thing, you get your residuals. And I know that the video game thing was a hot issue for a while.
Well, we still
right?
don't have residuals. We do have bonus.
No?
No residuals. We do have what they call bonus payments based on how much money the game makes over a very short period of time. And you can get
can you
three bonus payments. I would like to see residuals because I'm on Fortnite.
Oh,
That's another one.
And Fortnite, the mobile game, pulls in about $2 billion a day.
Oh, my
I know,
God.
right? It's insane.
I'm on Fortnite Save the World, and it's yeah. I mean, even that's confusing. Well, we got this
Right.
Fortnite.
You need to
that
get on Fortnite, save the bank account. What's
Yeah,
up?
exactly.
But
Fortnite is safe for college.
what's interesting is
So, I know you don't have to tell us, but just can you give us a round figure?
No.
No, don't tell us what you make.
well, I
but-
travel with a bank statement
exactly.
here.
Well, no. I'm saying like since they don't give you residuals, give me like a example of a bonus that you could get.
That
they
one
don't- since
that
they won't-
somebody
No,
could get. You
yeah,
mean?
Yeah, like what would that be? What would that?
You might get
not
double.
you personally. Don't give you money.
Yeah, you
away.
could. Well, and also at a certain level, you might be working for double or triple scale.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
which is the kind of thing that your agent's going to negotiate for
Okay.
you, based on you're in demand. You can do the
But
job.
it does vary depending on the talent, right? So it's not like a set thing. Like this is
Well,
what everybody gets. Or,
if you're doing a union game, you're getting scale, and then after that, there may be some
Okay.
other increases based on
Right.
your.
But you got to have a good mouthpiece talking for you. You got to have a good mouthpiece talking
But
for you.
but the celebrities will make more than I will just because they're celebrities. Doesn't mean they're going to be better at it. As a matter of fact,
yeah,
they've had a lot
you
of
think.
problems with celebrities in video games. There've been a number of celebrities that have come in and just knocked it out of the park. They're
Right.
great. But others who, their process doesn't fit video games.
But aren't you pretty much considered in that realm, because you've done a lot for the people out here that don't know, again, if you just now tuning in, this is the voice of a lot of stuff that you may not even know that you're listening to. I'm talking about video games, every animated stuff. This is listen for the voice and you'll hear it. But so you're pretty much like you're upper echelon though. You're not just you are considered, as far as I'm concerned, you're considered a celebrity at least in that realm, because you have such an impeccable and amazing resume, right?
In some circles, I'm kind of the small celebrity, the small S celebrity. Let's see, small C celebrity. Can't spell though. If I go
C spelled
to
with an
to Comic-Con or Dragon Con or something like that,
wow.
people want my autograph, and
That's dope.
Oh, can I get your autograph? Can I get a selfie with you? And
That's
all
so
and all
dope.
that's great. So there's a certain amount of celebrity there, but I remember being humbled, being at the table next to a big
Ian?
celebrity,
No, not me.
and I mean the guy's line never ended.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Well, you know who I was surprised because another voiceover guy. I'm not surprised because of how his trajectory.
What's
but
up, Lil Rob,
but,
Vince, T. Lynn, David? How is everybody
A
doing?
couple of last Dragon Con, a mutual friend who I've known from comedy for years, who's a huge voiceover guy, Tom Kenny.
Oh yeah,
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. And, for a while there, I don't think people people knew SpongeBob, whatever. But this last Dragon Con, he also his band played on the concert there, right? And I was just amazed at how many, because I was just going over to say,
Well, let me
hey,
tell
what's
you-
up, Tom? And I had to wait like an hour to say hey to a friend of mine.
SpongeBob
Oh wow.
is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SpongeBob is one of the biggest animations out there, cartoon series
Yeah.
out there.
Right.
It's been on for a long time, and people just love it.
And he's done a billion other things too. He's a great cartoon voice. But it's crazy to me because some people in that world just geek out about it.
Yeah.
The thing I will say though, that I got not even as a voice actor, but as a consumer, I don't like when they use in
What up, Lil Rob?
big films.
Uh-huh.
I don't like it when they use celebrities to do animation. And I know it started with Robin Williams doing the
Aladdin?
Yeah, Aladdin. Yeah.
But now it's like, they're like, whatever, the Madagascar, it's like starring Ben Stiller as the lion. I'm like, first off,
Why Ben Stiller is a lion?
Why Ben
But
Stiller's
you
the
know
lion?
what?
And
There's-
also, I'm like, do the kids really go, Ben Stiller? And the parents
No,
don't.
There's-
give a
there-
no,
crap.
because they know
there's
their
another
parents
side
are
of
taking
that.
them. They know the
There's-
parents are taking them to the movie.
Yeah.
Though.
There's another side of that, though. A lot of those movies wouldn't get made if they didn't have the stars sign
That's
off.
right.
I agree. I just
So,
don't understand why.
Recent one that I'm Incredibles 2.
Nice.
If they hadn't had the people who signed on, the major stars, it might not have gotten done,
Right.
and I might not have gotten a part in it,
Right.
and get that residual.
I agree. I just think.
Okay, wait. I gotta ask real quick. So the residual from that is definitely different than the residual from
Oh,
video
absolutely.
games. Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, okay.
No, it's so funny, and I love those residual checks that you get like 10 years, 20 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Or a penny.
I literally got one for 60 cents.
And you wonder, well, that's 60 cents. I've had that penny.
Yeah.
I've had that, and I get them all
Penny,
the
I've
time.
never had a
I
penny.
save them all up.
Way back before I had the dreadlocks, I did some on-camera and some TV shows, and I would have some of those under fives or a small part where, you started getting residuals. I was on Murder, She Wrote, playing a talk show host, and I'm still getting residuals for that, and that was 1992.
So wait,
Oh
so
my
what's the last check you got for, like a
Oh,
dollar,
it was
a
like
penny?
2 or 3 cents.
See, yeah. I save them up because like I'll get stuff like I'll wait for the big check, and then I'll take it in with the big check, and then I'll look at the cashier, the teller, and like just don't laugh. I'm really want to cash it, but no.
Well, that's why I do it online now, and I always wonder if
I
they're
gotta
gonna
do
go.
that, man. I gotta do it online.
But with those, you always get that little. Are you sure this is the correct amount?
I know.
The worst though, when at the end of the year, so when I do my taxes, I take my stuff, and then sometimes there'll be, because sometimes there are groups that pay multiple accounts.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's one group that pays that account. So it's like, I've only done one thing for Warner Brothers, and it was 15 years ago. So I take my W-2, and it's like $5.75. I'm like,
Hey.
I have to file a tax return on a
It's-
W-2 that's
But guess what?
$5.
It's Warner Brothers. That's all that matters, baby.
Like,
right.
I thought they'd pay more. Yeah. No,
Well-
not after.
Well, they
15
did.
Yeah,
They
they
did.
did. They did. Yes.
And they've been paying a long time, but it
Yes.
gets less and less.
It's funny though.
So for a lot of people out here that don't know what the voiceover world is like, because I'm new to it. I'm way more newer to it than you guys are, but I love it. Like I
Beats
love
working for a living.
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. I love it for the most simplest thing though, that I can show up wearing whatever I want to wear. Like I love that. I'm not gonna lie. Like I love that part. Where
So
I can
this
just-
is values for you.
pretty much.
Right,
I'm a
exactly.
minimalist.
I want to be poorly dressed.
I am a minimalist dude, Dave. I am a minimalist, dude. You don't even understand. If I could do comedy in sweats, I would get on stage in sweats. That's how. Yeah, I'm low key like that. But I want to know.
He's gonna buy a wheelchair. Can you take me over to the mic?
Hilarious. No, I'm not at that point yet. Even though I do see these kids
Rascal
out here now with
scooter.
the little scooters and everything is motorized now. But I remember my first voiceover gig that I did and how excited I was that I was actually doing it. You've been doing it way longer. Do you remember what was your first voiceover spot ever, and what was your feeling once you were in the booth? How long did it take you to get like accustomed to doing it? What was the first spot?
The first spot that was a union spot through an agent was for the California Lottery. I was still living in Northern California. I was still a DJ then.
You do got a DJ voice. I just know you do got a DJ
Don't say
voice.
don't say that. But I was a DJ. I was a morning jock on KSOL, which is no longer there, but it was
KSOL.
the R&B station in San Francisco.
on. Yeah,
I remember
107.7 KSOL, and I worked under the name Billy David Ocean. But I digress.
Caribbean Queen.
Yeah. Okay. I would get that once he came out with that, because I was Billy Ocean before he came
Before
out
he was
with
Billy Ocean.
Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
And I would get the call, hey man, I like your record, man. I like it, but how come, aren't you on tour or something? Why you on the radio when you got your record? And I said, well, no, we just happen to have the same name.
Yeah.
Well, how you got the same name? I said, well, what's your name? Fred Johnson or Fred? Do you think someplace on the planet?
Especially Fred
There's
Johnson.
another-
There might be another Fred Johnson. Oh man, I never thought of that.
I never thought.
That's why I'm on the radio, and you're about to be hung up on.
He ended it by saying, "Okay, when you
Now get off
done
my
here,
radio
when's
and
your
get back to
concert?"
my dreams.
So
Going-
after a while of that, I started
Got that,
adding
okay.
my name back in, Billy David Ocean,
Okay.
and rolled like that for a long time. But that first job, California Lottery, is one of the first things that I auditioned for. As a matter of fact, it was the first thing I auditioned for once I had an agent. Wow. The California Lottery was fairly new then, it's 1990. And did well with that. I was the voice of Marine World Africa USA, their
Oh.
summer concert programs, and I won a Golden Prawn Award for
So-
Marine World Africa USA.
Me saying golden voice was not unwarranted.
Yeah, yeah, but see that? Remember the homeless guy? That's what they called him.
Oh, that's right. They did. That's right. He did have a good voice.
No,
Yeah.
his voice wasn't any better than anybody else's, but what he did, it was the story they hired.
Right.
He was a guy that could do this thing, and I know so many guys that could do this. So he's standing on the corner, hey, how are you? So you're not expecting the homeless guy
Right. That's true.
Right.
to approach you. Can you help me? I'm looking for a little.
I would like $1.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? I'm
not
the
gonna
homeless
lie,
guy.
You would give him $1
with a
if you came up
golden
with a-
voice. Well, don't you want to give me some money? So it became a story, and it turned out.
You guys, this is not the homeless dude. I'm sorry.
no, not the homeless.
Those listening, yes, no.
The dude
can tell by
screwed
looking.
over everybody that tried to help him.
The homeless dude.
The homeless dude.
Wow.
There was a reason he was out there and being homeless.
Right.
You know,
No.
I
You
didn't
know,
see
no,
that.
no. You know what?
there were people who lost jobs who were working
It's-
hard. There was somebody who had that craft account. There was somebody who had the account when he became the voice of whatever team it was. All of which was short-lived.
You know what? It's funny you just said that.
So I'm going to go become homeless.
No, but,
I might
it-
get more work. No.
No, because your point is that he screwed over so many people, and that's why he was in that position. I've said this before when I've seen homeless people, like young homeless people, like people that look like they still can go work and stuff. I'm like, there's a reason why this person is here. Like maybe they've burned all of the bridges that they could possibly
Right.
burn, and that's why they're here. So it's funny that you would say that. Maybe because again,
Well,
for someone to be that,
And not always, but sometimes that's for
what
sure
I'm
thing.
talking about this one individual. Does that mean we should ignore the homeless problem?
no,
And-
not at all.
No, but this particular individual, when I say, yeah, he had screwed, excuse me. Oh, God.
What? Oh, no.
He had screwed over a bunch of people, including himself,
Right.
with drugs that got him into the position of being homeless. But once people started helping him, the people who paid his union dues, the people who got him an apartment, the people who bought some clothes for him and this kind of thing, once he was on his feet and people were like, oh, well, great. So, because it was all loans, it wasn't like, oh, we're just giving this stuff to you. He didn't want to have anything to do with him. Now you're
He
trying
just
to
cut
rip,
him
now
off.
you're trying to rip me off and so forth and so on.
So many scams, bro. And that's, you know what? And that's what trips me out because you did hear about that dude everywhere. It was everywhere. It was on every news station. Then all of a sudden you didn't hear about him at all. And then I guess that's what would explain it. Now, let me ask you something because as a stand-up, and we've had this happen before where we lost our voice on stage. Like I've had to do a couple shows where, you know, I didn't have a voice, which I'm still mad at you, Acme, in Minnesota, because I did the show with no voice and you didn't bring me back. Whatever. But I am hurt.
Some pains
Right.
never go.
Never go
I'm
away.
serious. I was sick as fuck that week, man, and I went in as a professional, still did my job, but that's a whole nother story. Neither here nor there. What do you do to keep your voice tip top? Like, do you have certain? Because I know singers have their regimens that they do. Do you have a regimen that you say, or certain things you? What's your regimen, and what things do you stay away from to keep your voice the way it is?
Well, I try not to shout unless I'm being paid for it.
Okay, that's smart.
Because in video games, there's a lot of shouting. If my voice is damaged, I don't talk. If I have a cold, I don't talk, and I certainly
Hey,
don't
Judy.
whisper, because whispering is tougher on your voice.
Really?
Than yeah.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
When you break it down and you're trying to do this, it's tougher on the chords. There's some breathing exercises I do.
Wow.
I have a little medical tube. It's about 12 inches long, and you kind of breathe through it, and that kind of relaxes your vocal cords. I had a couple singers tell me some really strange things that you can do. One of which was when you're a little inflamed in your throat, take some Preparation H and rub it in. And it sounds like a joke, and you guys are comedians, but I am telling you the honest to God truth,
Because it shrinks the.
because it shrinks the swelling.
Ah.
That's what they do under your eyes
Oh yeah.
when you have bags under your eyes, right?
In makeup, that's one of the things they do. And I swear, I think the Preparation H people, they repackage that stuff in something and charge 10 times more and sell it to women.
No, they do because my wife has some stuff that you put under your eyes and it really works. And
You
I'm like,
just
this
threw
is
your
just
wife
prep-
under the bus, man.
No, she don't care. She knows. She gave it. She gave it to me when I did my last comedy special. I had been up for like 3-4 days straight. I had bags in my eyes. She goes, "Come here," boop boop, and it was like gone. I was like, oh, I look younger. I look 20 years younger.
Now-
but
now
I'm like,
so
this is just
pretty.
preparation age. Come
Now,
on.
now he walks around with preparation H around him all the time.
That's why people keep calling me an asshole. All right.
But no, that's not why.
Yeah, that's not the main reason.
They do call you that,
Get
but
into
It's
it. Let's
just
really
one
get
of the
into it.
reasons. But yeah, it's actually Dave hires 2 professional masseuses to just massage his neck and his throat all
oh,
day.
wouldn't
long.
that be nice? Wouldn't
Must
that
be nice.
You know, it really is just. I drink a lot of tea with a lot of honey, and I use I
do
want
that.
Manuka honey or local honey that has not been pasteurized. Once they pasteurize it, all the good stuff is gone.
Oh, wow.
Honey's one of the best things in the world for you, but
Now I got to start thinking about pasteurized honey. I got to look and see what, because I
just
do.
buy the raw honey.
Okay. All right. It's so much stuff I got to do in life.
It's all right, you're young. You're young. You have no gray
I don't
hair.
know about that. No. You must not be looking close enough. It's in there. It's in there.
But he put some honey on that shit.
That's
Oh,
right.
That's right.
Pasteurized.
Now, if honey would
So-
cure gray hair, man,
Oh, right.
Hilarious.
No, but see that's the look though. That's a cool look. Like for me, if I had your hair,
don't be jealous.
if I had your hair,
Don't be
I
jealous.
might be like, yeah, I'm going with gray dreads.
You know,
right
I do
now.
get guys, my age with no hair, and they'll walk past me and they're looking like, yeah, you fuck
Mother.
you. Motherfucker.
Although the
Oh,
worst
you
thing
just
ever,
showing off now. You just showing off.
the worst thing ever though is the guy that's bald with the long
still
hair.
has-
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
stop,
Dude,
You're
it's
not
over.
fooling anyone.
It's over.
It's
Let it
like
go.
it's like Trump with the comb over from the side.
Oh,
It's like
God.
you're not. That's why somebody
will
posted
say
it.
this, though.
That's why he doesn't like windmills. He don't like wind.
You do look wise. I'm not gonna lie, bro. You look like the type of person that if us three were in a crowded area and someone needed directions, they would ask you. They wouldn't ask either one. I know
That-
they wouldn't ask me.
That happens,
Yes.
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That-
You're the one they'd be like, no, he knows what he's talking about. You could actually give the craziest directions, and they'd be like, I think it works.
They'd be like,
Let's
What
get a
would you
canoe.
like to know, my son?
We need a canoe. Just take the canoe over here, and then we'll be fine. He did the
like, let's see.
wise guys at it.
Yeah, which guy do we ask? How about Gandalf over there?
But have you so I know you do The Walking Dead. So your dreads remind me of Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Ezekiel.
Well, there was once a game came out, and the game won 100 Game of the Year awards. I was nominated for Best Voice Actor in a Video Game a number of
Nice.
times, won a couple. Got to go to London for the BAFTAs, didn't win.
It's all right. Free trip. Free trip.
Always a
but-
bridesmaid.
Yeah, but you know what? When you hear the actors say, "Oh, it's an honor just to be nominated," it really is.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
really
of
is.
course, it has to be.
What was your question again?
See,
I
that's
can't
how.
know it. I can't
Look,
remember.
that's how much of an honor it was. He's like, I don't even know what the hell you asked me, bro. No. But I know you have the resemblance to Ezekiel with,
Oh
with
yeah.
the dreads.
Okay, there we go. It's back. I remember now, man.
Sorry.
So after that, there was a Twitter campaign from Walking Dead fans of the game and the show to get me to play Ezekiel
On the show, on the actual show.
on the actual show, and they finally did give me an audition. I don't think they had any idea that they were ever going to, but to say that they
Appease the
did,
fans,
I
yes.
think they did. But of course I didn't get it, and I've met the actor who played Ezekiel.
How
great
was that-
guy, and whoa, and he did a great job at
did.
it. But I learned subsequently that AMC had issues with Telltale Walking Dead. They had their own version of a Walking Dead game that nobody played.
That's right.
And they were not happy about the Rolling Stone article that said the Walking Dead game was better than the Walking Dead TV show. And I didn't really learn this until a year or two ago. They were going to have a big get together for the premiere of the new episode, and a guy called me up. I do announce for game show or some game shows, but award shows as well. Did the NAACP Image Awards for about 15 years. You wouldn't
Wow.
know anything
No.
about that.
Does
But,
that have to do with basketball and football?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's okay.
Okay.
So a guy called me up and he said, "God, you'd be perfect. You got the tie into The Walking Dead. You know, let me call him. I'm so excited." And the AMC people, no, that's a conflict of interest. So
Wow,
I was
that
like,
sucks.
"Oh, okay.
Oh.
AMC got a little thing going on there."
Yeah, and they had
It
that
was
lawsuit
just a
too.
video game.
Whose interest does that conflict? Not mine.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're like,
But they did have. I remember the lawsuit actually when their first the first showrunner left. The very Greg Mazzara. I want to say for something, but the first showrunner left. He sued the show. I don't know how the suit ended up being, but it was a lot of legal stuff between that. And this is right around the time, of course, with the game, because I've played the other game as well. And my thing with video games is I don't like not being able to see the person. Like I want to see the
Oh
person.
boy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm
like
not a big
this.
gamer, but that drives me nuts
Yeah,
too. And
what do you call it? It's a certain term for it, but I want to see the character. I want to see the character running, shooting, and all that stuff. So
you don't want it to be a POV.
but when it's all
That's-
point of
that's
view,
what- yeah.
yeah. Ugh.
that's why I didn't really, because I actually do love the show. I love the Walking Dead show, but I'm like, man, when I saw they were bringing out a game, I'm like, oh great. But then I saw that they were doing it. One version was like this, and another version was like, it just wasn't. They could have made it so much better. You see what I'm saying? So
Well, but here's the difference. Telltale, which unfortunately is no longer there now, Telltale, their whole thing was narrative story. Their whole thing was, let's tell a good story. It's not about how facile you are with the controller. It's, we're giving you another experience. It is that age-old idea of the audience being part of the storytelling.
right.
And this actually is one of the things that's amazing about video games, because if you look at them, you know, history of entertainment going back to when the caveman would come in and lie about the size of the mastodon that they killed, on through.
You're not that old.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I was there.
Heated voiceover for the first cave paintings.
Okay.
But it's just been once we got video games
Right.
that the audience did more than clap or boo, that they got to make decisions about what happens in the story.
Yeah.
That is okay. I remember that because they'll be like, "Hey, choice A, B, C, and whatever."
Yeah,
Right? Yeah,
yeah.
I do remember that, and those are some of the things I did like about it. But also, like there's like God of War. I don't know if you ever, I'm sure
Yeah.
you're familiar with God of War. Like if they made it like that, people like me would play it more because I want to be that character. I want to be Rick Grimes. I want to be, I want to be Ezekiel. I mean, not the head chopped off part. Ezekiel. I mean, sorry for the spoilers,
But having the tiger's cool.
damn cool. Come on, come on, come on. You know how this is how much I
Give my
love.
dog some tiger stripes.
This is how much I love animals. Like I saw when they in the episode because it's a CGI tiger. Of course,
Yeah.
it's not a real tiger. But when they killed the CGI tiger, I didn't watch that episode. That's how much I love animals because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, they're gonna kill.
So
the
how'd
fake
you
tiger.
feel about the story lately? The poacher that the elephant
Oh.
killed and the lion ate him.
Oh,
I
call it
feel
teamwork.
I'm not sorry for the
I call it
poacher.
teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork. That was
Not only
great.
not sorry,
And
I think I stood up and clapped when
Yeah.
I saw the story.
I saw a news story and there was an elephant and a lion in close proximity, and it looked like they were high-fiving.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was Ben Stiller and whoever the other person was. Those are those. When I see those stories, I honestly am like, yay, animal.
Yeah, James Earl Jones, that's the name you were looking for.
Who's it?
James Earl Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, first of all, I really want to know how that was set up. Part of me is like, did the elephant and the lion say, look, bro, we can either work together on this and get rid of this dude or what? And the lion's like, you got a point. You got a point. Let's go ahead and kill this
Actually, you
dude.
got 2 points. You
Yeah.
call them tusks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But seriously, folks,
No,
I'm
but
here with two comedians.
He's like,
Tip
look,
your wages.
I'm the king of
totally
the
for that.
jungle. You actually kill more people every year with your stamping of the
Like,
fence.
come
If we could get the hippopotamus in
Yeah,
here, they
yeah,
really
yeah,
kill it.
Exactly.
And the elephant's like, I won't forget this favor.
Hey, Nile crocodile, get over here.
That would just be hilarious. Like everyone, every animal in the animal kingdom just took their turn on this
Could
dude.
you
It's kind of
imagine?
like Birds too. And I think there's been, The Birds was a great movie, but I think somebody at some point did some movie where the animals were turning on human beings. It sucked, so it didn't. We don't
Right.
remember it, but yeah.
What's this?
I can see that.
It's almost like Planet of the Apes with the main ape when he he was smart, so he organized all the other apes to be like, hey, you know what? We're stronger than these people. We're faster. We can do all of this stuff. Let's kill them. I mean, not kill them. I mean, eventually, if they come mess with us, we kill them. But so when I saw the story, I was like, yay, because first of all, because it made me feel better about the story that I saw about the hunters killing the bear. The hibernating bear.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
Yeah.
that made me. I couldn't even watch that. I'm not. It made me.
And my mother's side of the family is from Texas, and my cousins and family hunt. But the deer that they hunt and the wild boar that they hunt, they eat.
Right.
When you're just out there, hey, I just want to kill this big thing because it'll make me feel good, and call it a sport.
A sleeping bear cub. Are you fucking kidding me?
Do you understand how
sleeping
heartless you
bear
have to
cub.
be? Do you understand how little bit of any kind of
Neanderthal.
It's insane.
Neanderthal.
Yeah,
you're a savage. You
yeah.
are a plain fucking savage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know.
I hope they throw the book at him.
Or let the lions
Oh,
eat
yeah.
them and
Yeah,
the
they should take that guy.
elephants stomp them.
They should take
Right.
that guy on a trip to Africa. The guy with the bear guy. You know, I would love to see the Trump boys go to that same place in Africa.
Ooh.
The,
Without guns.
that-
Now it's a
Yes, yeah.
sport.
Beavis and Butthead Trump.
Let's use your wits.
Yes. Yeah.
Dave,
buy your way through that one.
I don't know if you know, but we take sometimes people will write in questions and stuff like that.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
No, this was not you. I'm gonna double check. No,
Yeah.
but Heath wants to know. Heath, by the way, said he loves you. He said it earlier. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
But he wants to know if you still do. You coach voice actors. He says.
Oh, absolutely.
He says I'm training with Steve Bloom
Oh, you
and
got a
others,
good guy.
but Dave's voice pattern is similar to my own. Okay, I don't. Do you know?
Yeah, check me out, DaveFennoy.com. You can book yourself. Every Wednesday on Facebook, I do an Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. All you got to do is tune in. It's all free. Answer your questions. I do classes. As a matter of fact, next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday, I'm doing a free webinar, and that you'll be able to sign up for. Free webinar, and we'll run through video games, TV promos, reading copy in general, and narration. And I teach a lot, which I never thought I'd do. My mother was a school teacher, and oh, son, you should be a school teacher. Mom, I don't want to grade papers. And,
Right.
I want to make some money and have some fun.
That's right.
And once I started teaching, I began to enjoy it, and then I decided. And you only start in voiceover because people, oh, you do voiceover, man? Can you tell me how to do voice? And after a while, you're like, okay.
Right.
Well, once I said, okay, I'm going to take this really seriously. Let me do a niche. A lot of people doing commercials, TV promos, narration. So I said, well, let me do a whole course on video game, voice acting for video games. And I've been doing that for about 5-6 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I also teach the other things too, but that's what I'm known for. And, I help people with demos, but only video game demos right now. But I enjoy it, and I feel like it's a dangerous world out there for the fledgling voice actor, because there are a lot of people out there saying, yeah, come to me, I can tell you how to do this.
Yeah.
Sure, kid, let me hear your voice. Yeah, just $400,000 or
You're a natural.
$500,000. And you really need to have been doing this a long time to understand what it is you do. Sometimes people have talent and they can do it, but they don't know
Thanks, man. I
what
appreciate it.
they don't they don't know what it is that they're actually doing.
Right.
It's they just happen to.
Yes. Athletes are like that. A lot of times, the best coaches aren't the best athletes.
Yeah.
A lot of times, the best athletes, of course, aren't the best coaches, and a lot of times they are. But I was going to say that. I mean, I've never taken a class with Dave, but I know Dave, and we used to do a
Workout group, voiceover
workout group together. And I'll tell you, there's certain things like I'm pretty cynical when it comes to a lot of things. Like in comedy, there's people who teach comedy.
Yeah.
And as comedians, you're just like, oh, you can't teach comedy. Now you
can't
can
teach somebody how to
but
be
you
funny.
can teach the business end of comedy. You can teach people certain rules. You can teach people to look and study comedy. And why is Richard Pryor so great? Why was George Carlin? Well, look at this joke, and why does this joke work versus doing it a different way? You can do that, but you can't teach the talent of comedy. But so I was kind of like, every time I would, any sort of class or workshop or anything like that. But I will say that there are certain things that people in voiceover hear. Certain people hear it and they know how to get the right thing out of somebody. And when we do the group, you go in and you read, and everybody in the group gets to say, hey, try this, do this. Who are you talking to? Whatever the thing they're thinking of that would make you do a different or better read or whatever. And some of it you go, and some of it you try and it works. Some of it you try, it doesn't work. But I always noticed there's the one or two people who are consistently giving advice or giving input that I go, yeah, that's what you need to do. Even if I couldn't put my finger on it, like I hear somebody read and I go, oh, what is it there? And then, but Dave is one of the people, he would be like, okay, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I think you should try. And I'm always like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
And I remember what made me less cynical is I took a promo workshop with Maurice Tobias. Okay. And I remember there was only like 10 of us. It was on a weekend, and the agency brought 10 people in, and they're like the top 10 promo people at this at this place get to work. Jim, I call it, at this agency get to do it. And we did it for a weekend, and I was so cynical. Like, what is she gonna teach me? And I remember her doing things that were so off the wall, like goofy, almost like I thought, what is this, some spirituality thing? And she would say stuff like, I would do the read, and she'd be like, what's your favorite something or other? And I'd be like, I don't know. What's your favorite ice cream? I'd say, she'd go, okay, tell me about that ice cream, or whatever the hell it was. And I would say, and then she'd go, say it again, and then go right into the read. And I'd do it, and
you know what?
And it's like crazy weird stuff. And everyone would be like, oh my God. I'm like, how did you know to do that?
I used to work with Maurice Tobias. It's been a long time. And in many ways, she's a little bit scary to work with because she'll tell you who you are based on your read.
Right.
And one of the things I try to get people to understand, because everybody, you're listening to a James Earl Jones or a Don LaFontaine or me or somebody,
right.
And I want to do it like them.
Yeah.
And like a musician, there are things you can learn by learning the licks of your favorite musicians, but sooner or later you got to make it you.
Right.
So you have a lot of people who really don't know how they sound.
Right.
And what they're trying to do when somebody else hands them this page of words, something somebody else has written, they're trying to now take somebody else's words and somebody else's voice and timing and rhythm and make that their own.
Right.
When, in fact, if they really were in touch with who they are, which goes back to what you were talking about, comedians.
Right.
The best comedians they're talking about their pain and their experience and their
Right.
life.
That's why Pryor was so great.
Yeah, and so when you bring yourself through it, even if you're doing a cartoon voice, but
Right.
you, because we all, a great actor, all our favorite actors, most of the time it seems like they're just playing themselves.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
well, we've got sometimes we'll get onto another voice or something
Yeah.
like that, but you're still letting those real honest emotions come through in a real honest way.
Right.
And that's what's difficult.
Right.
Is finding yourself. I tell people sometimes, look, you're hanging with your boys, your girls, your family, whatever, turn on the recorder on your phone and just let it record you for a while.
Right.
Long enough that you forget that it's there and you stop trying to sound like you sound good.
Right.
And then listen back to who you really are.
Yeah.
Now, give me that.
Yeah.
Give me that.
And that's really hard to do when I think that's what's the good people, what makes them good is being able to do that and also do, because you also get caught up in the specs, and you can't ignore the specs, but you can't be a slave to the specs
Yeah.
because half the time I follow the specs and I'm like, this is perfect, this is exactly what they want, and then I don't get it, and then I see the commercial and it's completely something different.
Diametrically opposed.
Because that person just did what they felt, and
lesson-
they go, ooh, I like that.
The lesson is understand that you are the secret sauce.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to bring you to it.
It's when you say, especially because I always tell comedians this, because they'll ask me, I can never tell a comedian what to write. I always say, write what you think is funny. Be honest to yourself. But what you just said about recording yourself, what I like to tell comedians to do is, I say when you're on stage, the best way to find out your voice and who you are is pretend like you're talking to people that you know already, your friends, your buddies. And
Right.
But I said, think about a funny thing that happened to you and how you told them that. But make sure that you understand that you didn't try to be funny when you told the story. You were just
Right.
telling the story, and they just happened to be laughing.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
that's your natural rhythm right there. That's how you naturally, that's your essence. So I said, if you can translate that to stage, that's when you'll get them. Because
Right.
a lot of what we do, you know this, like we could write a joke, and you've seen like well-written jokes, but if a person doesn't know how to deliver it, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
And vice versa. I've seen people who are just horrible people, but they're really good writers.
Right.
Really good writers. So when I always say, when you want to come across as genuine, talk the way you naturally talk. And I remember watching old, sometimes we watch old footage of our material and stuff. And I looked at old footage of what I used to do on stage, and sometimes I felt like I had to speed it up and do this. That's not my rhythm. My
Right.
rhythm is, this is how I talk. And then every once in a while you get some sporadic moments of levity and all that stuff. But it's really here. So when you're saying that for people who are trying to get into voiceover, because that was going to lead me into the question for you. If you had to give somebody, say, 5 tips to say, what would be the 5 most important things you would tell somebody that's trying to get into voice acting?
One, be you. Let the words, you're saying the word. I have a number of sayings. The words are only there to remind you of what you're saying.
Right.
We're not reading the words. They're just there as a reminder. And once you get into the mechanics of reading, read the phrases, not the words. Don't make the words so precious. It's everything else that's precious.
Okay.
It's who that character is, what that character feels, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're doing, the relationship with the person that they're talking to, what's their condition. Those are the things that we really want to portray. The words are only there to give meaning and definition
Right.
to what that character's thinking and feeling.
Okay. So be yourself. What else? What else you got from?
That wasn't enough.
That was
That was a master class right there.
right.
Goddammit.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going into 5. I'm sorry. I was letting the words judge me. Dude.
No, that was like 10 in one.
No. And that's why I gotta tell you, I'm in awe of having you on the show, simply because, like I said, I'm new to voiceover. I'm new to all this, but the people that make it seem seamless, bro. Like I was talking to somebody earlier, and they brought up stand up, and I've been doing this 18. Ian's been doing this like 20 something like this. But when we're on stage, and people are like, man, you just look like it's just whatever, and I'm like, yeah, because that's where I feel most naturally comfortable.
Right.
Do you feel most naturally comfortable? Because I remember you mentioned the on-camera audition for Walking Dead. Do you feel naturally comfortable in the booth? Is that?
I'm probably more comfortable in the booth than I am in front of a camera, just because I've logged so many hours over the years. I've done a fair amount of on-camera stuff, but I didn't come to LA to do on-camera, so I've never really chased it. I came to do voiceover.
Wow.
That was my purpose. I wasn't trying to be a comedian. I wasn't trying to be an on-camera actor.
That's rare, bro.
But they are the same thing.
Right.
Yes.
Now there's some different rules, different challenges. I'll put it that way for voiceover as opposed to on camera. And talking about video games as an actor, you don't have another actor that you're bouncing energy off of. You're not in costume. You don't have any blocking.
Right.
It's words on a page. And once you're doing the game, you had a chance to study the 4 or 5 or even 10 lines when you audition. But now that 350 lines that you're looking at, you've never seen before.
Oof.
So how do you make that real and the character again?
And do you tap? How much do you? Since you've been at it this long, how much do you look at other people to help you? Since you're a Jedi.
Do I watch other actors and
yeah? Do you have a mentor? Do you have somebody that you say, you know what, I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm going to call so and so. Do you have that type of person?
Well, from time to time, if I feel like I'm, getting some bad habits or gotten into a rut with something. I might take a workshop with somebody on TV promos. When I first came to town, I was doing a lot of TV promos. I still do them. I'm not under contract to anybody right now. So, I might go, you know what, I think I have some bad habits I've developed. Let me go clean this up with somebody whose ears I trust.
Okay.
That kind of thing. And I have done that before, and I think we all need from time to time to go see somebody that we trust, who is not intimidated by our experience, and that is willing to tell you the truth.
Right. That right there.
And I run into a lot of people who have been in the game as long as I have, or sometimes even longer, and let their ego get in the way. Well, I've been doing this for 50 years. 50 years ago, we didn't have all the things we have
Right.
now. It's a different world now. We're a much more casual society now. We don't trust the guy that has that voice anymore. The voiceover world lives in the world.
Right.
And the world is different now in so many ways.
Yeah, so, well, I was going to say to Ty, too, that, there isn't, I mean, there's a difference, but I think the people that are really good with voiceover, they're actors. A lot of people call themselves
Yeah.
voice actors. And especially,
I do.
I mean, it's different from, I mean, yeah, obviously, if you're just reading the announcer, from the end of a, Coke commercial or whatever, you're saying whatever. But if you're a character in that, if you're doing animation, you're doing a video game, if it was you, if they were filming you, you'd be saying those same lines, whether you're in front of the camera or it's an animated version of you or an animated version of a turtle. It doesn't matter. It's still you talking. It's still your character. There's still, and I think that's the hard part. I think people forget when sometimes they get there and they're reading words and it's like, so they didn't have to have it memorized. They're not playing it off somebody. That it's like, no, you're still just being a character. You're
And
being a
then
person.
they get too caught in the words.
Right.
Right.
And your body informs your voice, so it needs to show up in your facial features. It needs to
Right.
show up in even though you have to stay on mic.
Yeah.
You have to pantomime some of the things
Right.
that you would be doing if
Yeah.
you were on camera. Different now. Animation, funny voices, but you still have to bring it real character.
Right.
Video games leans more towards drama, although there's some comedy, but still you have to bring some truth to it.
Right.
There's some things, despite the fact that you have to bring truth to, there's a style to.
Right.
Right.
So when you get into TV promos,
Right.
and you're doing drama promos,
Right.
and you can get into a thing where it's a style, but at the same time, there still has to be.
Damn, I
an
wanted to hear the rest of that
honesty and
promo
a-
just now.
You know what my favorite was when I was a kid. I didn't know promo was a thing. I always forget his name, but he did all the. I think it was CBS in the '80s.
Donald Fontaine.
No, it wasn't Donald
Okay.
Fontaine. But he was always the guy that would. He had that switch. I always remember because the Love Boat and
Oh no, that was ABC, and that was
it ABC?
Yeah.
But
That's Ernie Anderson.
Ernie Anderson.
The Love Boat.
And he always go, because I remember going.
And now.
Yeah. Then on an all new Hardcastle in McCormick, like he had that thing, and he'd be like, then on an all new Love Boat, and then he would have that switch. Then on an all new, and it was like he had these switches
And
that were so dope.
He would. I grew up in Cleveland, and he was the booth announcer for Channel 5, and he had this show called Goulardi. On Friday nights, he played the B, C, and D horror movies. And he would dress up in this costume, and he was Goulardi, turned blue, purple Canadian fire. You're wearing your white socks. You must be from Parma. And it was the strangest, weirdest thing.
That is bizarre.
It was bizarre, but he was this beatnik ghoul.
Wow.
And
That reminds me of,
it had the best ratings on Friday nights of any show that was on television, network shows included.
It reminds me of Son of Svengali. I know you have to look it up. It was more like that. Like he played the scary movies. It was on Channel 13. It was when you had UHF and VHF,
Yep.
but the little thing. But that's when you just described it. That's what it reminded me of. 'Cause
He probably got it. He probably got it from Ernie
from
Anderson.
another guy.
I love that. It's obviously a lot has changed in promo, but man, that is in my childhood memories of the '80s of just
Oh yeah.
I used to mimic that all the time. I'd be like, then on the A team when I was a kid.
My first agent in L.A. Represented Ernie SBV. And my first day in, he was there, and I said, "Oh wow, Ernie, hey, I'm Dave Fennoy. I'm new here, and gosh, I used to listen to you when you were Goulardi on Channel 5." And he looked at me and said, "Hey, nice to meet you, kid."
I love it. I want to ask you, because I know also another benefit of voiceover is that you can pretty much do it anywhere. I remember Ian and I were on the road for our Divided Comedy Tour that we do, promo. So we were on the road one day, and we had just checked into the hotel room, and Ian was like, "I got to lay this promo down for this thing. I got to send this in." So he's on the bed, right? And
Well, I had nothing for that one because I forgot. I remember that.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring stuff on this tour.
They had nothing, bro. And so he got on the bed, pulled the thick cover over his head. And I had to be, I was just sitting there just watching. It's like,
You're breathing too loud.
Yes.
so he
I was
did
like,
it.
I can't believe I got to do this under the comforter.
Oh,
It worked, though. Great.
This voice actors have been doing this
Yes.
for years. Pillow forts, you know the thing, the thing that folds out that you can put your luggage on.
Yes.
Set that up on the desk, covers over it,
Yeah, you know
pillow
what-
behind it.
Wow.
You might. Well, now they well, there was a company for a while. They had the Porta Booth Pro, which was a fold up, zip up thing. But the thing now is called the Chaotica Eyeball.
Okay.
What's that?
And it's a big foam ball that has a big round thing and then a hole in the bottom, and you stick the microphone up through the hole, and you're looking at, that's why they call it an eyeball. It's like you're looking at that eye, and it gets rid of all the sound bounce.
Wow.
Now you still have to be in a quiet room.
Okay. I was
Right.
gonna
But
say.
usually the problem isn't the noise in
It's
the room;
the-
it's the bouncing off the hard walls and windows
Okay.
and stuff. So it eliminates all of that, and I carry one in my suitcase everywhere I go.
You know what's funny is like, so I had built a little. I don't have like a full studio in my house because I wasn't most of the stuff I was doing at the time. Like when I did do promo stuff for when I did Bravo and that, I went in. They wanted me in.
Yeah.
You know, because it's there when you're, especially when you're doing promo, you're reading it
What
to
up,
the
everybody
spot,
that
right?
tuned
You're-
in? Is tuned
Reading
in.
the
So-
picture.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I didn't really have like a major thing, but I had to, we moved rooms and I didn't set up a booth, right? So I have my computer and I have a couple mics and I just had like, a couple real basic mics just to do auditions. I don't do anything from my house. If I do, I'll go to a place. I don't do anything that I have to actually record from, but for auditions, and it just was not working. And I'm like, there was too much, I didn't have the room done properly. And even auditions sucked, right? And it just wasn't, people were complaining. They're like, it sounds off. And my daughter, who was like 9, I came in one day and she had taken a shoebox
Oh, so you told me this. I remember.
and she had lined it with foam and a couple egg crates and glued it inside and had put my microphone in this little shoebox. And I'm like,
Your daughter's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah. She's amazing,
You
bro.
could market that. And then she tried to put a little thing where you could pin my copy, but it didn't work there. But she's like, and then you can pin your copy. I was like, that's pretty smart. So it's like, it's funny that now.
Clearly,
I
she got her brains from her mother.
Yes, exactly. But now I actually have they actually bought a little thing like that that's foam that surrounds the mic. But I'm like, she had my 9-year-old created this out of a shoebox. I'm like, and it worked. I did it, and everyone was like, "Oh, what'd you do? Did you build a studio?" I'm like, "No, my daughter built a shoebox."
No,
And,
my
and
daughter built a
there's
studio.
a number of ways to do it. You can be in the corner of a room and have curtains, so you're and the curtains will eat up the sound. The microphone's coming from the corner. You can have a booth. I have a booth, a whisper room, and it can have rock wool in it, covered in some kind of cloth, or you could have acoustic foam. But I read and saw a report, 4 or 5 towels stretched over a wooden frame
Right.
is better than all of it.
Really?
Wait a minute.
So you could get some used towels or buy some, go to a hotel, steal a bunch of them. Did I say that? I did.
We don't promote stealing on the show, but steal them.
Yeah. We actually use robes, not towels.
And make some frames and put them over, or just hang them in your booth, and cuts down the sound. Really, what you want are not flat walls.
Right.
Even if you're looking at a shelf that's got lots of little doodads and knickknacks on it on
Right.
one wall, and some foam over here and a curtain over there, just so you don't have walls parallel to one another that bounce sound back and forth.
Yeah.
I have the half dome with the foam. It's like this, and
Yeah.
I just put the mic inside the thing.
How well does it work for you?
It actually, I booked 2 spots off of it, so it actually works pretty well. But I also have it set up in the room to where, like, I try to block the sound out. There's really no sound coming out from this side, but there's traffic on the street. but it blocks it out. Like I'll listen and like, okay, you can't hear the cars coming by. So it's cool, but it's still not, you know.
That's one of the reasons the so-called LA voiceover mic, Sennheiser 416 shotgun mic. As a matter of fact, Ernie Anderson was the first one to use that when he was at ABC. He didn't want to be in a booth by himself. So they had him sitting in the room with all the machines and all the guys. But this is the microphone that they use for movies and television. And the boom guy is holding up, and oh God, my arms. But it doesn't hear the things on the outside of it. It just hears what it's pointed at.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing you can take on the road, and it's going to be very picky about what it hears. It hears what's right there, but not what's over there.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, where is the weirdest place? Because I know you travel to, which is, you know, and I'm sure that's one of the benefits of being a voice actor, as opposed to you have to be on camera to do the audition or actually film. Where is the weirdest place you had to send in something, record and send something in? Where were you in the world?
I was in the Maldives. I was a celebrity host for the World Series of Video Games.
Wow.
Game on! And I was in the Maldives, and I was on the beach. And I didn't have my Kayatica eyeball then, so I stole a bunch of towels. Oh, no, because I gave them back. I borrowed them. I borrowed them.
Sure you did.
I borrowed a bunch of
You
towels.
built a sand hut.
Well, I didn't build a sand hut, but I was where some trees were, and I, had my laptop, and I had my Apogee microphone, and I made myself a little area in the trees here where
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is the weirdest. I was about to say, I thought he was going to say something like, well, I was in my car and I had to put the towels up on the car. He's like, no.
I've done it the car's not that weird. I've done it in a car. A car actually can be a pretty good place to record it.
I tried the car one time early on, and I tried to, actually I found that if,
was that when you still had a hoopty?
Yeah. You can't be driving it, though.
You got to be in your Mercedes or BMW or Lexus, or
way
nowadays
better,
your Tesla. But that hoopty.
Yeah, you can deal with that. You can the engine. It sounds. I can hear the engine, bro. No,
there are no windows in this car. This will not work.
Well, what I did was I tried to find a little small empty parking lot, which you never realize how weird that is. That you're driving in the middle of a parking lot trying to find a little corner to do a voiceover.
Until people are looking at you, yes.
Sure you are, sir. No, I'm just trying to record something. Right, sir.
Yes.
Step out of the car, please. That was the weirdest place for me. But then once I got this little device, I was like, okay, cool. Then I can at least take it to different spots with me. But I know for you, you're doing like these high-end things. So do you find that people are like, all right, we get it. You're out on the road. We'll understand, and we can do this when you get back in?
Well, here's the thing. If you're just doing an audition, there have been times I've been someplace where it was horrible. All I had was my iPhone and no microphone to plug into it, maybe my earpiece, but I was not in optimum conditions at all. Then what you have to hope is that your performance is good, because your performance will out. If your performance is great, and they know, okay, this is an audition. Once we get him in the studio, it'll be wonderful. But they're going to hear whether that performance is working out.
Okay.
Is there truth in it? Now, if you're trying to do that as the job, well, maybe not.
What's funny is I actually booked a spot one time back when I was at SPV. This is actually the one I get the 60-cent residuals from, which was a voice match, which is funny because I was voice matching Cat Williams. And
Cat Williams.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I showed up, the guy
Let me hear your Cat Williams.
God, I'm trying to think of what something Cat Williams says. Let's see.
Talk about his hair.
He goes,
Way to put him on the spot, Dave. Way to put him on the spot.
He's the one who brought up Cat Williams.
You have got to be talking to your star motherfucking player. You have got to bring in your star motherfucking player. Now, look. So anyway, I had to do.
Okay.
So I did voice match for him when I walked in.
That was a more light-skinned Cat
Yes.
Williams, man.
When I came in, the guy went, "Are you Ian?"
Yes, I'm motherfucking
Yeah.
am.
He goes, "You're the Cat Williams?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, okay. but I did that over the phone. The guy goes, can you call this person? They need, and I'm like, all right. So I called, and I was like, I believe it was that was the one. It was some voice. It might have been that one or another voice match I did. And I just called the person, the producer, whoever was on the phone, and they said, all right, can you say this line as so and so? And I had the conversation with them, and they're like, okay, come in, whatever. But I booked it on a conversation on the phone.
See, that's the smallest things, bro.
I love it.
We gotta in a second.
But we didn't even do any politics. God dang it.
Well, okay, but again, we did not do them because again, we just weren't sure. But now that we know, we can have Dave on in the future, and if the world is still here,
I want to see the report.
Yes.
I want to see the Mueller report.
Right?
Yeah. So we will.
Wait, really quick. Let's before we go.
We'll give you some politics, people. For
Yes.
the people that were expecting it.
What do you guys think about this freaking thin-skinned douche? For the third year in a row, he will not go to the correspondence dinner.
You know,
because
you know where that
roast
started. You know where it started, right? It started Obama. It started with Obama because Obama was roasting him, and they panned the camera on him, and the dude was not smiling at all. He was hurt.
Yo, he's as thin as This isn't funny. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't have a comb over.
Listen,
but I mean, come on, dude. Like you don't even have enough self-awareness to let people make jokes at you. Like, how petty and childish are you as the fucking president of the United States that you can't take a couple for the fucking country?
No, because here's the thing. You got to understand something. And I actually, in all seriousness, this dude has built himself up to feel like he isn't wrong about anything. He has no flaws. He wanted, in his mind and in his followers' mind, he has zero flaws. So to go someplace where someone's pointing this out to him, and he can't say anything, all he can do is sit there and take it, that's not in his DNA, bro. He can't fathom that. Whereas every other president in history has been able to go there and take the joke. Shit, what's his name? He used to do the parodies with Dana Carvey. George Bush would be like side by side, split screen. This guy in his mind is perfect. This guy in his mind has no flaws. So when someone is saying, look at the jokes I'm making about you, he can't deal with that. That's part of the reason why his followers won't accept that this dude is wrong about anything.
Well, also, one of the things a con man does, let's not forget, con is confidence. A con man cannot ever be below you. The con man always has to be the authority on everything, and he cannot ever.
Despite that he knows nothing.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing, is he can't ever let on to the fact that he knows he's full of shit, even for the shortest, tiniest amount, because then all of his little house of cards of his 30% of people that fall will crumble because they are fooled enough to think that this guy does know everything. Yes, windmills.
Stupid. When you say fooled, stupid.
Yes. Sound
the carnage of the birds.
Sound from windmills does cause cancer.
It causes cancer.
Right, exactly.
This is a theory. This
Johnny,
is
put down that pinwheel.
This is the theory I gave Ian last week when it comes to this.
Too much noise.
I honestly think that this dude, as dumb as he is, I honestly think he just says stuff to see what else he can say. I
mean,
really
like
do.
his father was born in Germany?
Yeah.
Yes.
The wall that they're repairing now. I built this.
Yeah, it's already been built. It's already been built, but I still need $10 billion to build it.
But I think he does that, like, just to see. And I keep telling Ian, the smartest thing this dumbass said was, I love the poorly educated. Because you can easily manipulate these people. It is. Think about this, man. And
they're like, he does like us.
He's not a bright man. He doesn't know anything, but he's very cunning.
Yeah.
And quite evil. And he's willing to say anything at any time.
Right.
And he did learn the propaganda of the Nazis.
Yes.
If you tell a lie, tell a simple lie, tell a simple big lie, tell it over and over and over again, and play on people's fears. And you can get a lot of power.
It is amazing to me that we're in a society that this dude has been able. I mean, because again, some stuff you look at and you're like, okay, that's just dumb. But now these things are just becoming. Again, I think he says it honestly just to see what he can say. when you come out and tell somebody wind causes, I can't even say with a straight fucking face.
Wind causes
Wind
cancer.
causes, I can't even.
But look, he's not far off. Look at other what he's
Well,
doing.
he's not far off from what?
Of other dictators.
Oh, I thought you were about to say.
No. Wind sound causes cancer for sure. It causes chemtrail cancer. But no, they have. Look at other dictators. Look at the Kims. Kim Jong Un, Kim Jong Il.
Kardashian.
Sorry. Do you know that Kim Jong Il?
No, he said dictator, not dick.
Okay, Dick Taker. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Dick Taster?
Oh.
But they
The views expressed in critical and thinking were not. Sorry. Oh, that should have been you. You should have said.
But they, Kim Jong Il, the things around him, he's never taken a shit. That's one of his things. I think he wasn't born. He was
Hatched.
yes, something like that. No, there's all
He
these.
came down from heaven.
Yes, pretty much. There's all these
Kim
things.
Jong-un.
You can look him up. All these things that are the myths around him that you have to believe.
He is a god to the people
Right.
in North Korea.
And that's what Trump is kind of doing. He's saying things like, if he came out and eventually said, look, I haven't, they say I'm fat. I haven't gained a pound since I was 16. I don't even eat food anymore. Like, people would be like, hey, he says he doesn't eat food. Like, I mean, that's how these things happen. And then 20 years down the road when he...
Well, it's true. He doesn't eat food. He eats a McDonald's.
Yes, exactly. That's all he eats, yes. But, I mean, that's the funny thing is, people would go, he doesn't eat food. And then you say, come on, dude, and he goes, his followers would go, well, I don't consider McDonald's food. That's how they get away with that, dude. They would be like, well, that's what I mean by it. That's what he means. That's all he means.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
you know that the word rationalize, it's so true. So often that's what we're doing. We're telling ourselves what we think are rational lies.
Yes.
Nah, I love that.
You know, our brain. One of the best things our brain does, best and worst, is justify something we've done that we don't really have a reason that we did it. You killed somebody, you stole something, you did
Right.
something terrible, and now you come up with the excuses after the fact. Well, I did this because, and this person did this to me, and this person said this to me, and this happened, and that happened. Same way, if we're going back to video games and comic books, our evil villains. Every doggone one of them, something terrible happened to them.
Right.
And they decided to take it out on the world.
Did you see the promo for the Joker, the new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
To just exactly to Dave's point. Like, you look at it, and the promo is basically him trying to be a regular person, but he's getting picked on by people. They're kicking his ass. They're doing, and you slowly through the course of this trailer, you see him going through these steps of madness to where he finally ends up as the Joker. So that's absolutely right.
And the truth of the matter, what's the old saying? You cannot, you're not in control of what happens to you, but you are in control of what you do about it, how you handle it.
How you react.
And man, we got a lot of people who, because their lives aren't going necessarily the way they want their lives to go, are blaming, insert group here.
Right.
It's this group of people, that
And
group
that
of people.
happens everywhere in history. That's
Yeah.
what the Nazis
Yeah.
did with the
Yeah.
Jews.
Yeah.
That's what they did with the Pakistanis in the 70s in London. In England, that's what we've done here many times with Mexicans.
And those in power want to keep it that way
Yeah.
because if the workers, let's talk about this country, if the workers in this country, black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever, gay, straight, whatever, if we all get on the same page with, well, wait a minute, the 1%ers had a 500% raise since Reagan, we haven't gotten anything and prices keep going up. I'm sorry, we're not taking it anymore.
That's right.
But they're able to, well, you better vote for us Republicans because these black guys or these
Right.
Latin guys or these gay people.
You see it the most. I've talked about this before on the podcast. You see it a lot with the minimum wage. I see it all the time where people are like, hey, we should have a $15 an hour minimum wage, raised minimum wage. And then people who make $10 an hour going, oh, so now some jackass at McDonald's is going to make $15 an hour? I only make $10 an hour, and I change oil. It's
Guess
like,
what?
well,
The raise is for you too.
yeah, but the thing is, they don't want to be on the same level as a guy working at and it's like
Well-
they've divided themselves to where I'm better than that guy.
Well,
why
and
should
it's-
that guy
it's-
make
it's-
the same
It's
as
the
me?
American dream. I'm just a millionaire waiting for my
Yeah.
opportunity.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
the thing is, and this is why you had the big issue with healthcare, is that, I mean, think about this. At the basics of everything, it says, well, everybody should have healthcare. Everybody should have affordable healthcare. There's nothing wrong with that statement. Nothing.
Right.
But then you get people that are like, they don't want to go to the same doctor as that person. They
Right.
don't want to have the same plan as that person.
Right.
As opposed to saying, I want to be covered. I'm sure that person wants to be covered. We'll just be.
Yeah, it's interesting. I read an article not too long ago about why Americans are not as interested in the whole on health care for everybody and the social services. And a lot of times it comes up to their racism
Right.
or whatever ism is more important than their own well-being.
Right.
That the
Racism
fear of
where?
somebody else getting something, well, I don't want them to have it, so
Right.
I'm not going to have it either.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. They'll pay, like, how much is your premium? Oh, I got to pay $500 a month for insurance for your family. Yeah. You got to pay and then you also have a, what, $3,000 deductible? Yeah. Would you know with 1% of your taxes, you could have insurance with little or no deductible, and it would be 1%, which is, according to your paycheck here, way less than $500 per month, and it's pre-taxes, so you're not getting taxed on it. And oh wow, that's great. But does he get health care too? Yeah. Fuck him. I'm going to pay $500 a month.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's really what it comes
Yeah.
down to.
And this is why at the end of the day, these dudes that are in control, because again, I never understood this. Why do you think the person eating at the same restaurant as you, living in the same neighborhood as you, going to the same place?
Well, see, that's the problem. How did he get to live in my neighborhood?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And this is why these people that are in power will continuously be able to move and manipulate these people. They already know that most of these Republican-run states are some of the poorest
They are the
states.
poorest
All
states
poorest
out
states,
there.
yes.
Yeah.
Because these people, again, and this is, I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. America was founded on greed, fraud, racism, and hatred. Those have been the...
Don't forget genocide.
Yes.
And-
So those have been the cornerstones of this country. So you would think that people would, over time, especially with more information, be like, okay, well, you know what, we have to break this cycle. But they don't want to break the cycle because at some point, these people want to feel like they're better. It's almost like you take the slave, and then you take the house slave, and then the field slave, and you say, well, both of y'all slaves, just so y'all know. Both of y'all are slaves. Neither one of y'all can go anywhere. You pit the one slave against the other, just like they would do with, because poor white folks, I always tell people, if you lived in a trailer, if you still live in a trailer park now, 3 years in, you still live in a trailer park, and you still think the problem is the black folks and the Mexicans? Come on, man. When are you going to wake up? So,
That's all you got.
Yeah.
My racism, all I got.
Exactly.
I can't let
Right
go
there.
of it.
Yeah.
I can't let go of it.
That's it.
It served my family for generations.
That's it.
Well,
We got-
unfortunately, we have got to go because we are over time.
Oh,
but,
my God.
Man, this has been. Next time we're gonna have you back on. We're gonna just talk politics because this is where we always take off. But I want to hear voiceover. I want to throw stuff out to people, let people see something different for once because
Yes.
this was really cool to have.
Well, cool.
Dude, it was cool having
Hey,
you on.
thank
here.
you for
Thank
this.
you,
Was
bro.
a this was a gas.
Yeah, and tell people
I
really
enjoyed
quick
it.
where they
Yeah.
can find you.
Everywhere.
DaveFennoy.com is my website. You can find me on Facebook, Dave Fennoy. Follow me on Twitter at Dave Fennoy, Instagram as well. So
Yeah.
there we have it.
And
You need some voiceover lessons or something. You
This
Oh
is
yeah,
Yeah,
go to
seriously.
my website. You can sign up.
There you go.
You
That's
can
dope.
book lessons yourself, and you'll also get the information about where I'll be teaching. And once again, next Thursday, free webinar, and I'll start promoting that later today. It'll be on my Facebook page, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn.
Nice.
And you can find us. Go to the Critical and Thinking Podcast. Please subscribe, hit that button, and do the Patreon thing.
Patreon thing, yep.
Patreon thing. You know,
Helps us out.
we not begging, but I mean we begging.
Please.
You can find me on comediantybarnett.com, which has links to the Facebook and links to the Twitter and Instagram and all of that stuff. You can find Ian.
IanHarrisComedian.com, same thing. And find us here every week. We'll be back. Critical and Thinking Podcast will be back next week, going live on Facebook again, plus iTunes, Stitcher, all that sort of stuff.
right.
So subscribe, like, share with your friends. We'll
And
see you next time.
I wanna thank our guest again for being on the show. Thanks
Mr.
a lot,
Dave
Dave.
Fennoy.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you
Y'all
for
be
having
cool.
me.
Critical and Thinking. Peace out.